Greetings, I'm Vincent. Thanks for continuing to join me for the sections. Now we continue to the AppScan Web Vulnerability Scanner, the standard edition, the product demo based on the walkthrough basis, so that we can using the demonstration while we explain as we go over. So you can see how the solution is working. So the version is 10.0.4 by the time I do this demos. So as you can see from the starting screen, it will only leading out into the view tab for you from the AppScan Connect to the some of the other AppScan family product. The new scan tab is basically only three things you can do. One is to perform for the scan the web application automatically or manually to exploit a web application, or perform for scan web services based on the REST API or SOAP basic. And third one is perform the incremental scanning using the incremental scanning, right, to test only for the part of your applications. AppScan Connect is to connect you to the other AppScan family product if you have also subscribed to, like the AppScan on Cloud and the AppScan Enterprise. What new tab will be showing you for the latest release, and then what is the new features and summary of the functionality improvement. And then the getting started is to have all those new to it, to have some video clip to help to landing you into this using of the Appscan Standard. Let's start. Just like the other product, so you need to provide the URL or web application, the target website, or it can be also is the IP, whether it's the static IP or dynamic IP you're using to host the web application. Typically, we also call it as a fully qualified domain name. Right, so that to be used, right, as your URL target. Once you fill in, it will auto check for the continuity. Then you will be instant know about that the particular, sometimes it has a misspelling or mistake, right? You know it is correctly being detected. Depend on the scenario, you may also check, let's say it's a scan only the link, right, for first two label on the directory, or test for all path as case sensitive, in particular for the Unix and Linux based system, or adding for the additional server and domain name to be part of your web application that you intend to be scanned and testing for. Okay, for the login management, so here is login sequence recorder is used for to capture the or recording to be easier for future playback on the login sequence. So here have a 4 options you can do for the either is the recorder is the recommended section, automated point, then you fill in, and then for none is for perform no credential testing. As for some cases, you want to do it to capture and then to compare with the credential testing for how much different you can getting from the scan and testing. We start a recommended setting first, so we click on the recorder, the recommended setting, Chrome browser, IE, and then also for some external client. Of course, the recommended setting Chrome, because it's now the leading market leading from all the browsers supported. But of course, external Postman, all those things. If your scenario is like that, you can use it for your own case. So once that you start recording in, let's say, the Chrome, then you will be landing into the page, and you will need to fill in click on the sign in page and then to log in. Like here, put in the JSmith password demo 1234 to log in. Then you are now in the login section scenario and context. So you go to click on I'm logged into the site to back to the screen again. So he will try to detect based on the playing the action-based login sequence to help you to make sure that it being properly recorded from your future playback as needed. So for more, you can actually just for the explanation purpose, you can go to explain to more. Here have more function you can be custom tuning for your scenario. Like now, the one that we take is based on the sign-in page, right? So that they will appear a sign-off page as a result. So, but you can also using other indicator as per based on your use case. So, and for the reform action based, but you can also based on the request based in case for the action based is field. So he is quite robust in that extent for you to perform the recording for your login sequence. Then they will follow with the test policy. From here, you may need to decide what kind of testing you plan to do. Usually for the first time we do complete, but sometimes we want to do only for application only, or for the wider field, or for web services, or for infrastructures only, or for the production, etc., etc. Because the different scenario you may want to using the different testing policy that reflecting on your real use case. So you can based on that to pick one so to be for your testing scenario. Test optimizations. As we deal with the same website again and again, then we will be gaining the application know-how, and then from the very different use case and scenario for operations, it will not be ideal that every time I perform a full scan, complete scan as the slowest as possible speed. In certain scenario, we may want to be 5 times, 10 times, 50 times faster to be using to be addressed for a different use case. Some is just want to perform for a quick scan for the DOP, DSecOps purpose. Some is just to getting the feel for how the overall security exposures at the time for the particular application. So this will be the last screen that for you to complete the scan configuration wizard that to decide for start scan, start with Automate Explore only, to be start with manual explore, or is to be start only the scan later. It means you just save it and then maybe to want to starting on the off-peak hours. We click finish, then you will need to save the files. So that you need to save it some way that for this particular application scanning profile scan. Say AppScan application scan only. You will remember the file extension always will end with the scan. This is the extension for AppScan in using. Like here, I'm using for the scan only profile. I put in the date, the year, month, date. In case on future you put a lot here, easier for you to find the right one you want for your futures. Okay, so then we perform the scanning profiles. So that when the time he start, first thing what it did is to explore. The word here used explore. The different product is typically using the word crawling or using the word spiraling. Is basically the whole purpose is to indexing and crawling the website navigation architectures to see what kind of the file that it can finding on the for the next step for the testing, or you call it the scanning, to be takes place on top of all those finding object. Scan log is actually is very useful way for you to know what is going on by the timestamp, in particularly when you be away. Let's say you let the scanner for overnight scanning running. Then you come back, you can very quickly see from the scanning log. Then to know what is going on or anything in specific, you may need to take action from there. While we waiting for the scan to finish, so we quickly go to the other features that are showing here, such as the power tool, advanced manual tool like Authentication Tester. There is other tool is called brute force, the brute force tester, to be based on the form of HTTP authentication. Perform the dictionary attack based on the user ID and password. The whole purpose is to see whether that the particular application have been able to penetrate based on some of the dictionary ID and password it did. Basically mean the website is weak, subject to weak authentication mechanism. Connection test to pin the website without using the pin protocol, which is blocked by many firewalls. Encode decode is to encode and decode the string you put into it to and from the format of your choice. Other product may call this generator using the regular expression to display the text that match the specific pattern to save the messy effort for you to manually test it one by one basis. For instance, you know that the particular system is using the section ID that running by 4-digit numbers. It is no point for you to test the number increment one by one. Instead, that you're using the regular expression to create pattern to be keep increment of 1, right, automatically until 9999, right? So that save you the time for that. The HTTP request editors enable you to send a fully control the HTTP request to your target testing site to test for how the site will respond to different kind of HTTP requests, such as get to post, or you changing some of the parameters to testing for the HTTP request response. The application tree is a tree view display of the folder, the URL and file, the AppScan file on your application. In case of the application without a hierarchy of URL structures, such as a single entry point application, for instance, the MVC, right, or application where hierarchy structure is not logically, you can create a content-based application tree by defining a set of regular expression. We extract the logical part of the page. Application data result list. The result list shows the list of the URL, the parameter, and script that were discovered during the explore stage for the selected node in the application tree. So we just mouse over the URL that the application access, the parameter, the script, and their associate parameter, the AppScan discover, the cookie that AppScan discover, the page or page explored by the AppScan, field request link that did not respond to request, filter URL that will not explode, but either because of the default AppScan setting or because of you refine the Explorer filters. User interaction needed, URL that require user input, which AppScan could not provide automatically. Comment on your web page that are accessible to user, JavaScript that AppScan discovers. I will powder scan, but we are directly jump into the testing, so you no need to be spend too much time with me while the scanning ongoing. So that we are based on whatever thing that we already crawl, then to perform the scan on all those objects in still. So let's continue. Okay, the testing is starting. So you can see it, the screen is very quickly being occupied by the issue one by one. From here, actually, that you can still interactively browse over for some of the item to see for some of the particular vulnerability and issue that you want to drill into in a very specific to get some overall feel what that contribute to the particular of the vulnerability that you can use with the 4 of the tab in the right hand side to getting some of the feeling and advisory, what is the issue, advisory, the fixed recommendations, right, to be help you to focusing on the your time to really figure out what is important to be reported, or maybe some you want to be putting as a false positive, and so on. You are able to be doing for the testing process here onward. Okay, now the scan is finished. Now we can look into the reporting functionality. So as you can see from the report module, where you can actually from the standard security report, the template, you can be see what you want to report from the info, low, medium, high, or you just want to starting from minimum, from high, or whatever reason that you have in mind. That for the application infra, right? So just exactly like how previously you are using the application profile, you can be sorting by issue tag, the very standard, or you can sort by the URL to limit the number of variable that have been reported. To also that you also can add the page break for each page for the PDF for the issue, make it much more easier to divide the issue. So what the thing you want to include it, you can do from there. The layout you can change into your company logo and the custom testing whatever section and text that you needed. So we jump into the industry standard report. They have a lot, so like OSWAP, right? So like the three classifications such as for electricity sectors, ISO 27002, 001, and then for the NIS3 report, and then for the SaaS top 25. Those is the industry standard report. You can use it to filter your result with that. Regular compliant is very country specific, some is global in nature. Is only sorting out here is a very long list from here. So if you info under one of the country here, then it will save you the time on the compliant filtering and reporting. The Basel tool for banking is very standard. Same also for PCI DSS, as well as for the range that you can see from here is very handy. For the delta analyst report, some people call it as a comparison to compare the base scan and the target scan, or before scan and after scan, just to want to know about the differentiate for a month, what is the difference being changed, right? So this is the use for that to cut short the time to assess and reading the entire report one more time again, because sometimes what you need to do is just want to know for the differentiate among that. Template-based report, this is very useful for the customer who have in-house template using the Microsoft Word that you may consider to be importing your own in-house report to be then later on use some of the few parameter that to extract some of the scan result right into your report, and then you just need to be manually touch some of the section with some of the human writing to making it very close to the human make report. This is particular, let's say like for some consulting company is always need to generate that kind of report. This is very useful features. Same as well for big corporate or government agency may need to be standardizing their own in-house report that is not look so machine made. So this may be where you can use it to be tailor-made and custom-made for your own in-house to address all the kind of the scenario and then for the requirement. Let's make one report. Let's just generate security report. You can see how it's in actions that from start to end, and then can see inside the content how is look like. So we generate one from security report that based on some of the report setting. How fast the generating depend on the, of course, your machine, the horsepower we have mentioned, and then the how deep the scanning result be. So this is the report. It's a quicker flip through. Then you can see how professional the report is being made. That for the reporting purpose. Of course, it's very graphically in the early front few pages to be visual and impressive enough to also summarizing all those things. You will notice that inside with a lot of the screenshot being captured is to, because sometimes for the like exploit, it will easier to be explained in a visual manner, so that is captured and then will be auto record inside. That for the let's say you passing to the different officer or user, they will know what you really mean to. When the time they know what they need to work on. So this is how the rest of the report will look like, grouping issue by issue. So we're going to, let's say, move to regulatory compliant. Let's say like the popular PCI DSS. So you can see how the different, we are talking about the report in terms of the look. That is different because now the particular report it is not by the issue sorting. Instead, it's based on all the sections of the compliance that we are referring to respective of the standard, right? They will have all of their requirement and compliance. Then how it will be pass or fail. All those like violation sections, So you can see how this will be save you a lot of time if you are in a specific industry that you need to compile the report just to fulfill for the security compliance. So it will also very quickly to using that report for you to communicate with your internal respective department or external agency, right? To know what need to be done to say to address for certain violations and how can you pass the and then to be compliant to the respective regulation according to the compliant requirement that you need to help your organizations to make sure you are acting on all those things, especially for the second time you compile the report, it should be showing less compared with previous. So this is what we are talking about. Industry standard, let's we use the ISMS, ISO 20001 as a sample. For company who pursue that, you may want to using this as a benchmark against to see how your site is doing, whether that you are in the right track or actually you still have a lot of element is missing that for your ISMS journey, right? So now you see now how this is being sorting. It is by the IS 20007 requirement and so on and sort accordingly. Again, this will be a very handy and helpful report for you to use for a lot of internal or communicate with external to be using for the communicate, or let's say they have violation, how can you work to make sure you're compliant in next round of audit, etc., etc. So this is how helpful those report is being used for. Okay, once again, on behalf of Espin, I would like to thank you for your time that for me to quickly to perform the Appscan Standard, the product demo in very quick to highlight some of the functionality. Of course, that feel free to engage us if you have a very specific requirement like integrations, training, and then like integrate into the descent off, right? So or to be used with the penetration testing to be used together with the infrastructure testing together, how they can provide the end-to-end security testing to your company requirement, including. Feel free to write in and contact to any of our Espin officer. We should be able to help in your existing requirement or your coming project requirement. So have a good day. Thanks. Bye.